Samos is one of the most beautiful islands of Greece. It's surrounded by lush green mountains and the crystal blue water of the Aegean Sea. Most people go there to spend their holidays. They just see Samos as a lovely tourist resort. However, it holds dark realities. Samos is one of the 5 hotspots for asylum seekers in Greece. This camp in Samos was designed for 648 people, but is now crammed with more than 7,000 people, and refugees keep coming to this island every day. Severe overcrowding and dire living conditions are making the camp an extremely dangerous place for everyone. If refugees want to survive, they need to build everything on their own. Often, just some sticks of wood and sheets of plastic make a tent. There are often 4 or 5 people per tent. These primitive shelters have to shelter people through the bitter coldness and frequent rains in winter. Many refugees can barely sleep at night. There is no tap water, and only few parts of the camp have electricity and lighting. Everyday activities such as going to the toilet have become dangerous missions, as many toilets do not have locks. Women are too scared to go out at night. They are afraid of getting sexually assaulted. When it comes to night, the camp is in deep darkness. Rats, cockroaches, and other pests run rampant. Poor hygiene and sanitation lead to the spread of infections and diseases. Many people stay in lines for long hours to get a meal. Generally, mashed potatoes are the food that they get. Sometimes the food gets rotten but is still served. Refugees in Samos receive few resources and little support. I know a Congolese boy. He fled to Samos with his sister. However, he was forced to separate from his sister because of investigative and procedural missteps. The police neglected to file the boy's paper correctly, and the asylum authorities refused to proceed with his case in a proper way. As a result, he couldn't get transferred to mainland Greece with his sister at the same time. Being left alone in this desperate environment, this boy is sinking deeper and deeper into despair. It is uncertain when or even if he can reunite with his family. In the camp, there are also many unaccompanied minors. These consist of young people who have fled alone. Unaccompanied minors are the most disadvantaged members of the camp population. It's the hardest for them to get a living place, clothes, food, or any resources. Without guardians, they are generally denied medical care. Multiple barriers exist that deny them access to local schools. Even if they have successfully met the legal requirements for applying for a Greek school, they often face even more obstacles set by the local authorities that deny their rights to receive a decent education. Education is the most powerful tool for refugees to transform their lives. However, many people with privilege are utterly indifferent to their dreams. Refugees are not allowed inside many of the city's restaurants. Most locals feel hostility towards refugees. Nearly all regard the refugees up with unfriendly eyes. Refugees are labeled and reduced to a number. When the majority of people see refugees, those labels are all they remember. However, there are people behind the labels. Refugees have blood and tears. They have passions and dreams. They are longing for meaningful connections. Many of them are people who love, want friendship, and family. Refugees are just like any other people around the world. They deserve love, respect, and equality. Here is a comment by one refugee named Pallavis, who was speaking in Farsi, say this.
نام پرویز است و 16 ساله هستم. در جزیره ساموس زندگی میکنم و 4 سال است از پدر و مادرم جدا شدیم. یک سری اتفاقای افتاد که باعث جدا شدن شد و من کوشش میکنم تا برم پیش پدر و مادرم که در آلمان هستن و بزرگترین آرزوی من است که بتونم کشورها رو بگردم، فرهنگ‌های مختلف از نزدیک دیدن کنم و تجربهشون کنم. بزرگترین آرزوم همین است.
Another person named Jiang say in Turkish.
Merhaba, benim adım Jiyan. Büyüyünce annemi Almanya'ya götürmek istiyorum ve en büyük hayalim ise rapçi olmak.
Tamang, speaking in Arabic, added.
أريد أسحب أهلي على هولندا.
Although these refugees are from different cultures and speaking different languages, they are a lot more similar to us than you might think. The refugee issue is also much closer to Taiwan than most of us could ever imagine. People in Hong Kong are protesting against China and extradition bill mandated by mainland China. Fully armed police are battling demonstrators in return. Hong Kong may no longer keep its place as Asia's leading financial center. Many Hong Kongers are afraid to leave their own homes. Palestinians fled or were expelled from the land they occupied for over 1,000 years and reside in refugee camps in the West Bank or in the Gaza Strip since the establishment of Israel. Approximately 5 million people have been deprived of their civil rights, living in poverty. Furthermore, as a result of climate-driven rising seas, many parts of Bangladesh and many Pacific island nations such as Fiji and the Kiribati are sinking into the ocean. It is estimated that 2 billion people could become climate refugees by 2100. A global climate refugee crisis has already begun. Everything we have and built can be lost in a second. Is the refugee issue really so far away from us? What would happen if Taiwanese become in need urgent of assistance from outsiders? If people in Taiwan are apathetic to the outside world, will the outside world become apathetic to us? In such a scenario, would it be surprising if people choose to turn their backs on us when we are suffering? If you are able to see how the refugee issue really matters, I invite you to lend a hand to the miners in the Samos camp. The miners are the most vulnerable and in need. They need our urgent help. They need money for food, clothes, medical care, and materials for tents. Some need money for lawyers to help their cases involving family separation or political asylum. When they receive the necessary paperwork to leave Samos, some need to buy ship tickets by themselves, which costs 51 euros per person. When those miners have finally got the chance to transfer to mainland Greece and move toward the next chapter of life, their futures are still full of challenges. I plead you to contribute to the fund with an open heart. These miners need your support to meet their basic needs, even though they are living in the camp. Help these kids to leave this island and overcome many barriers. Help them receive a formal education, become reunited with their families, and pursue their dreams. Support the young refugee miners in Samos to have a chance to change their destinies. If you are able to understand that this refugee issue really matters, I earnestly request you make a monetary contribution to this noble cause. Please send your donations to my charity account via the China Trust Commercial Bank. Bank code 822, account number 1305 4044 1073, account name Jiang Yian. After you transfer your money successfully, please go to the following Facebook fan page, The Greek Starry Sky, and send your name, contact, and the last 5 numbers of your bank account by message. I will post the purpose of the donation on the above fan page. Every contribution, however small or big, really matters. Please help us offer more humane care for these refugees in need.